First thing we need to analyze is the value raising range. The only hand that I would personally entertain the idea of value raising would be 10-9 suited. I think sets are strong enough to keep calling with and make our opponent fire a double barrel and we can jam the turn. And I think a hand like Ace-10 is not going to do well enough against our opponent's value betting range to justify the raise. While it does suck giving free cards, I don't think Ace-10 is strong enough to really felt here. Our opponent will usually get it in with better hands and draws. So I personally would not use a value raising range here. If you wanted to raise a few bluffs, 10-9 suited and some flush draws, I don't really care. I don't really think that's wrong. I have no idea if in theory 10-9 suited is a raise here. But as usual, I'm going to go with a value raising range of 0 here because I don't raise very much on the flop in 3-bet pots. So now we need to call 125 combos, which is a ridiculous amount of combos, yet we're going to give it a go. Alright, so let's start off just using Flopzilla as strongly as we can. So top pair, sure, I'm just going to write it as top pair plus 32, TP plus 32. So remember, we want to make the whole range 125. So we had, that was, and then middle pair is another 18 combos. So I'm going to write that as middle pair 18. Middle pair 18. That got us 50 total. And then we have weak pair. Okay, so we're not probably going to want to call with all of our pairs here. As you hopefully saw when you watched the Important Theory Concepts series, even though pocket sevens might have a lot of equity against our opponent's continuation bet, it pretty much is going to suck. So I don't want to try to defend pocket sevens or pocket sixes if I can get away with it. So we'll defend all this other sort of pairs, but we're going to have to kind of count. So let's see. I'm just going to go like this. Weak pair. Oh, weak pairs are none then. All right, so now we have to move on to gut shots and flush draws. So flush draws, we don't want to double count. So we have to make sure we're not counting the nines. So flush draws is going to get us another 17 minus, I think there's 6 nines. So 17 minus 6, so flush draws is going to be 11. Flush draws is 11. Alright, open-ended straight draws. That's 20 combos minus the 2 draws that were already flush draws, so that's 18 combos. Open-ended straight draw is 18. So you can see this takes a while, and this is actually not nearly as tough as they can get when you're dealing with out-of-position Flopzilla stuff, which is way more combos. Alright, so let's do that. Then we have gut shots. Oh, that is a lot of gutters. Oh, that's a lot of gutters. Not really surprised, but still, damn. Okay, so that's 40 minus 4, so that's 36 gut shots. Wow. Alright, so gut shots, let's talk a moment about these. Gut shots might not have a whole ton of equity here, but they're going to play extremely well. At least the ones with the 2 overcards are going to. So if I have a hand like King-Queen, I mean, maybe the turn in the river can come a way that will make it a fold on the river in theory. But for the most part, if you turn a king or a queen with king-queen, you're probably going to have to fault it, I would guess. In practice, you probably can find a hero fold against some opponents. But king-queen with the backdoor flush draw, a gut shot, and 2 overcards is going to be a really good hand that has equity that plays really well for the most part. So these gut shots are probably all defendable. Maybe we can get away with mucking like the 8-6 or the 7-6 of the non-clubs, non-heart. But for right now, I'm just going to throw them in and do a little bit of counting. Let's see what else we have. Any sort of really good overcards we want to defend? Probably. So let's do ace of hearts, queen. I'm just going to put ace, queen, 7, which means the 7 combos of ace, queen that have a runner flush. So that's ace of hearts, queen X, ace X, queen of hearts, and ace, queen of clubs. And then I'm going to probably put an ace-jack of clubs too, and then I'm going to count that while I freeze the screen for a second. And I counted 123 combos, which is close enough to our desired defending combos of 125 that we're going to roll with it. So most turn cards are going to put some pretty strong hands into our range, which is really fortunate because we only really have 50 made hands here. Ace-Queen might be able to get to Showdown as the best hand, but for the most part, only 50 made hands out of 125 defended combos. We're pretty weighted towards sort of weakish floats and draws, which isn't ideal, but since we are in position, that's going to be much more practical than it would be otherwise, because our opponent's either going to have to still bet pretty small in the turn when we can improve, or he'll have to make very, very large turn bets, where he's going to be risking so much money if he overbets the turn that it's okay if we have to fold a whole bunch of hands. So, not ideal, but hopefully in position, most turn cards will improve us, though our life will be difficult on something like a 5 of spades turn, but then we'll be really happy we slow played hands like 10-9 suited, pocket 10s, pocket 9s, because then we will actually have some really strong hands in our range, even if we don't have a whole lot.